Firstly, may I truly thank each and every one of you for coming today. It really means so much to me and my family, so thank you. Vicky would be so touched. When I sat down to think about how I could possibly put together some semblance of words that could even vaguely do Vicky justice, I felt like I'd been asked to paint a sunrise using only chalk and a blackboard. How could my meagre words come close to encapsulating all the wonderful things that my sister was? How could I even select memories to tell you when every moment I spent with her is worthy of regale? Then I realised there was one thing on my side. Fortunately for me, all that is Vicky is no secret. It has become clear through all your wonderful messages that Vicky shared her character with so many. I guess a light that shines that brightly is clear for all to see. Vicky was different. She was so special, I almost feel guilty. What had I done to be blessed with such a sister? I honestly can't think. In all my life, I've never even slightly drifted from Vicky. We've spoken every day since the first day I learned to formulate a word, and we've been best friends ever since. I'm lucky to have so many incredible memories of our childhood. Holidays, pretending to be ill so we could both stay home and play. Well, actually, I usually was ill, but Vicky wouldn't miss the chance to stay home and have fun. I would hear, "Alex, Mum's gone now, so now we can play." I'd have to try and shake off my 100-degree temperature to ensure I was a worthy companion. The only reason I was a half-decent football player is because Vicky would spend endless hours coaching me in the garden. But bear in mind, she became a professional makeup artist. Vicky loved to perform. I can imagine there's barely a person amongst you that hasn't had the privilege of either co-starring or bearing witness to one of Vicky's many productions, dances, and variety acts. She would be dragged into the staff room at school so she could do impressions of all the teachers. Even as a toddler, she provided her GP with a full ballet recital after the doctor had first convinced Vicky she wasn't unwell. This was not because Vicky was born for the stage. Rather, she realised straight away that life was a stage, so why wait? Now, I couldn't possibly pay homage to my sister without mentioning her art of coercion, or for want of a better word, blagging. My earliest memory of this is her and Stuart taking me to the cinema to see Mars Attacks. At first, I wasn't allowed in until Vicky and Stuart explained in some detail how I was actually a learning-impaired 13-year-old, and not, in fact, a 7-year-old boy. Or how Vicky managed to reroute the whole school bus service to make one of the stops our driveway. The phrase, "we're just going to have to blag it," was standard issue between us, as the word no didn't seem to have the same appeal. There's a few things it's easy to forget about Vicky due to the larger parts of her character, like her amazing sense of humour and her compassion. Vicky was also a talented athlete. Throughout school, she would often represent the county in various sports. She was an established dancer. She had a far more shining academic record than myself, including straight A's at A-level and a degree. She was a rounded actress, model, makeup artist, the list goes on. I've often found myself waxing lyrical about Vicky. I can't tell you how proud I've been to call her my sister, and I always will be. I'm only the person I am today through listening to her, learning from her, and trying to think of any way I could help her or offer her some advice. Nothing made me happier than putting that big grin back on her face. She may have thought I was teaching her, but really she was teaching me how to care and be humble, how to find the beauty in everything and anyone, and how to find laughter in any situation. Some of her gifts, however, transcended being taught. They were just too special and unique. She had the most wonderful ability to make people feel good about themselves. She could make people feel instantly at ease in her company. Her warmth radiated from her in such a way I've never before or since seen replicated. She would light up any room when she entered it, and she had so much energy and an unshakable lust for life. Her aura was inescapable and undeniable. Vicky literally couldn't leave the house without making new friends. I remember walking down to the shop with her so she could grab some chocolate. We ended up in the shop for well over 20 minutes while she chatted away to the guy at the till. They chatted about their favourite types of chocolate and how fun it was to have a little treat. He had probably served 200 people that day, and I bet he'd barely been acknowledged by a single one of them. Then along came Vicky. As we left, I turned back to see him almost skip out from behind the counter, a spring in his step and a smile on his face. Vicky didn't see a shopkeeper, a taxi driver, or a ticket inspector. All Vicky would see is a person. What a rare and incredible thing that is. Not too long ago, I was collecting Vicky from John Lewis in Reading. She had just done a half day working with an agency she often did work with. As I arrived to collect her, she was talking to someone. As I drew closer, I realised she was in the process of advising this one chap on the best way for him to come out to his parents. She said goodbye to him and walked over to another lady who she hugged and wished her all the best in her move to Canada. The lady had a tear in her eye. I said to Vicky on the way home, "It's so nice, mate, that you get to work with the same people on all these jobs." And she said, "Those guys, I only met them this afternoon." And I think that says it all, really. A lot of people would have left that afternoon barely on first name terms. Not Vicky. I would often just sit back, mesmerised as to how she would seamlessly break down the normal conventions and constrictions of being a stranger, and I would wish I could do the same. I even once made my New Year's resolution to be more like her. She would have laughed if I had told her and told me I was crazy. She was utterly blind to her own gifts, which I think in many ways makes them all that more special. The love for Vicky was never more apparent than when she fell ill. I literally became a full-time PA. In fact, just to see Vicky, I'd have to machete my way through a jungle of flowers and a horde of teddies. The love you all showed her gave her so much strength. And she would always say, "Make sure you message them back. Tell them, Als. Tell them how kind they are." Now, I can't go any further without thanking a couple of people. Firstly, my dad. I thank him for making Vicky the apple of his eye, for teaching her those little life lessons that a dad teaches a daughter, and for always telling her how much he loved her. Next, my mum. Wow, what an incredible woman she really is. A pillar of strength that is barely fathomable, yet so caring and loving. She fought relentlessly to give Vicky everything she could. I couldn't have wished for my mum and sister to be better friends and to love each other more. She managed to seamlessly switch between friend and mother. The night before Vicky left us, I woke up to see Vicky asleep for the first time in days, all because my mum had clambered onto the bed beside her and held her baby girl once again. And I knew how safe and calm that would have made Vicky feel. I don't know what woke me up to see that. Maybe it was the fact I was in an armchair, but I know I'll hold on to that image for the rest of my life. And last, but by no means least, I cannot tell you how grateful and I always will be to you, CJ. You not only gave my sister stability, eternal friendship and support, but you made sure she was the princess she always deserved to be, summarised in what remains to be the proudest day of my life, your wedding day. I cannot thank you enough for making my sister that happy and content. Everyone that was lucky enough to be present was carried on the wave of pure and undeniable love you shared on that day. I will be eternally grateful to you and eternally grateful you found each other. Never before have I felt the sting of my own mortality than the day Vicky passed away. When Vicky passed, a large part of me went with her. but it's left me thinking a lot about time. You see, time is a construct. It's a construct that we have created. So when you remove time and you replace the years, months, and hours with the more valuable commodities of love, laughter, and wisdom, then it becomes clear to me that Vicky lived longer than most of us could ever hope. Vicky once asked me what I believed the meaning of life was, and I told her, I think it's to leave this world a slightly better place having been on it. And I think we can all say Vicky has more than fulfilled that meaning with the lives that she's touched. So we could fall and we could crumble in the face of this sickening tragedy. But did Vicky, when she was told she had cancer? No, she didn't. In fact, she stood up and fought, even in her last moments. So I asked myself, would we be doing her justice? No, we wouldn't. Instead, we need to stand strong and ensure her positivity shines on with the same strength it did while she was with us and continues to make changes in people's lives for the better. She told me she wanted to help people and inspire them. I promised her she would, a promise I intend to keep. I don't know how I'll go on without my sister. I honestly can't envisage a future without her. When she would talk to me, as she frequently did throughout our lives, about her fears of dying, I would say to her, honestly, mate, don't worry. We'll both be old, and I just hope I go before you do. And she would say to me, I love you, Al, but I hope you do too. But only when we're old. I guess the only way to look at it is like I've lost my sight. I can adapt and I can find beauty in this world again, but only as a man blinded by an irreplaceable loss. I always have, I do now, and I always will. Thank my lucky stars for Victoria, Irene, Kathleen, Van der Westerhuizen, my sister, Vicky.